The world's a dangerous place. Get the industry's original and most trusted laser sighting system from Crimson Trace. A laser and light systems will enhance your effectiveness and help keep you and your family out of harm's way.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, we're talking about the importance of training and the latest hot topics, plus your range reports and more. Call in now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom.
Well, hello. Glad that you could be with us today. Tom Gresham here. Of course, it's Gun Talk. If you'd like to reach us, it's pretty darn easy. 866-TALK-GUN. Get you in here. Or just dial 1-TOM-TALK-GUN over on Twitter. I'm at Gun Talk. Shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com. All good ways to get in here. But, of course, we love getting your range reports. Where have you been out shooting? What do you like? What do you hate? What's working for you? What did you talk your way into being able to purchase? Love that when people say, yeah, I was able to get a new gun because sometimes it's because I bought her a gun too. Well, that works too. Or in some cases, I bought him a gun too. That always works as well. We'll be talking about a lot of things, including a bit of a change in Congress. What's it going to mean for gun ownership, gun rights? Something, nothing, maybe something important. We can certainly chat about that. But it is fall. It is fall, and birds are flying. People are getting ready to go bird hunting. People are getting back out, maybe doing some shooting where it was a little bit hot through the summer, particularly in the southern western parts of the country, where you say, I don't think I want to go out and shoot any clay targets right now. It's just too bloody hot. And that means it's time for us to talk to Dr. Shotgun. Bryan Bilinski is, of course, the owner, the purveyor of Fieldsport, a fabulous store in Traverse City, Michigan. He's the guy who brought sporting clays, the whole game of sporting clays, to the United States many years ago. He's a world-class shooting instructor, gun fitter, and all-knowing, all-seeing, knowledgeable guy about guns. Bryan Bilinski joins us now. Hey, Bryan.
Thank you for that introduction.
All-knowing. How are you, my friend?
Splendid, thank you. I'm sitting on my deck observing fall coming into the air in northern Michigan.
It just feels right. It's like, okay, it's time to get the shotguns back. Okay, in your case, you never put them up, but get them out. It's time for people to start brushing up, because we're thinking. I know guys who are already out shooting teal in Louisiana, and of course, depending on where you are in the country, some seasons are open, and a lot of them are coming.
Yeah, I just went down and hunted doves in Indiana for a few days a couple of weeks ago. And we had a real good crow and pigeon shoot last week up here in northern Michigan. Grouse and woodcock season is now formally open, and duck season opens this coming Saturday. So, man alive, this is the time of year we live for.
Yeah, I know. There was a great Southern writer, Havilah Babcock, wrote a book titled "My Health is Better in November."
It's said so well. We'll just move it up. We'll move it up 1 month. We'll say October, in northern Michigan.
There you go, northern Michigan, exactly. Now, let me ask you, there's a reason we don't have you on more often. It's because every time I go to your website, I want to spend money. So I don't know what that's all about. You have the best collection of new and used shotguns anywhere, and you do the best job of displaying them, because one of the things you do, and I want us to spin straight to this, is you measure all the guns, so you give the measurements so that somebody who has already been measured and knows what gun fits them says, okay, well, that was pretty close, or that one we can get there. I want us to at least talk about the value and the importance of gun fitting when it comes to shotguns, not for defensive use, but for wing shooting.
That's a loaded subject, and it's unfortunately we're not a nation that ever was built around bespoke anything. Mm-hmm. We've followed Henry Ford into the gun business, and you could have any color Model T as long as it was black.
Right.
So American shooters they're not privileged to have gun fitters in all parts of the country where they can get a gun fitting before they buy a gun. so that they can buy a gun that shoots exactly where they're looking, comfortable to shoot, and also, is the perfect gun for them.
Well, now, you mentioned the line you had in there that I think is all important is a gun that shoots where you're looking, because if obviously we're a nation of rifle shooters, you put the sights on it and you pull the trigger and it goes where it's supposed to. With a shotgun, there are no sights. You simply look at the target, and the gun is supposed to shoot where you're looking. But the honest truth is that probably a lot more times than not, it doesn't.
No, and it's a certain percentage of people, are not Mr. or Mrs. Average, and that'll probably be job security for me forever, because, what sort of ideal dimensions do you need? Because there are so many variables in the human body and human body type. Virtually no two people need exactly the same thing when it comes to stock dimensions. I've said in some recent articles I've written, it's a never-ending challenge for the production line gun makers of the country to try to figure out who Mr. Average is. And they search and search and search, and they have meetings probably at the end of every SHOT Show and talk about how many are getting, if they're getting too many complaints about their stock dimensions. Combs too high, combs too low, length of poles too long, length of poles too short, not enough cast, too much cast. And so consequently, they keep regurgitating new dimensions into their production line guns. Sometimes you get real lucky and you're close enough to the Mr. Average, and the gun you select is a fairly good fit for you, and you're good to go. It's probably the other 30, 40, 50% of the American shooters that are in trouble. And they struggle. And then, like you said earlier, they have to keep buying another gun in hopes that they have purchased a gun that fits them better.
Rather than saying, I'm going to go get a gun fitting. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, you're actually adjusting the stock, the butt stock, so that you're, through various means, you can bend them, you can shape them, you can do different things, but you're moving the shooter's eye so that it really lines up with the barrels, so that when you look at the target, the shot goes where it's supposed to. There are people right now, Brian, who are listening to us and saying, yeah, but it's a shotgun. It doesn't have to be really that close. It just kind of covers everything. You probably heard that before.
I've heard it a million times, and until you spend, as many hours at the fitting plate that I have, you don't realize how precise a shotgun is and how much a little mistake in the stock dimensions can make a huge mistake at the distance that you're shooting at a bird. Yeah, you've got a pattern of little soldiers, I like to call them, that are out there doing the job for you. But if they're shooting 6 inches to the left of the center of, where you're looking, consequently, a bird going left to right, you're always behind, or you're crippling. And that's another adjunct to gun fit. I like to describe gun fit down to 2 words: anchor point. When you bring the gun firmly under your cheekbone, and that's an area called the zygomatic arch, when you anchor under there, that's where your eye alignment really is going to be critical. And that's the rear sight of the shotgun. You were 100% right on, we're a nation of riflemen. We're used to moving around the sights to get, a perfect grouping of bullets, as well as moving the reticle of a scope. You can't do that with a shotgun. And a shotgun is a tool of movement. And so that's where it goes back to, it has to shoot where you look. It has to be like an extension of your reach.
Here's an example for you. There are people who say, I do pretty well with the right to left crossers, but I really have trouble. I miss a lot of those going the other way. Sometimes it's their technique, but a lot of times it's that the gun is actually not shooting where it's supposed to. It helps them in one direction and it hurts them in the other direction.
That's the law of the math of gun fit. If you are a shooter who needs, let's just pick a number, a 1/4 inch cast off, so your gun shoots perfect left and right. If you don't have that, you're going to have a gun that's 0 cast. You're already shooting 4 inches to the left. So, if I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times. For most right-handed shooters, high 2 on a skeet field gives them the most trouble because it's a hard left to right. Gun already shoots behind the point of impact, and their brain can't see the daylight. The eye can't see enough daylight, so they take a shot and they miss behind.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Bryan, hold on a second. I'm going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I want to talk about shotguns, what's out there, kind of how do you find what's a good gun, and some of the really incredible values in shotguns, not just today, but historically, because there are some amazing guns out there. We're talking with Bryan Bilinski from his place. It's called Fieldsport on the internet. It's fieldsportltd.com. We'll be right back.
Before Silencer Shop made it so easy to suppress firearm noise, this was considered quiet. After Silencer Shop, this is considered quiet. Help make the world a quieter place. Visit silencershop.com to find a dealer powered by Silencer Shop near you. No crickets were harmed in making this commercial.
Put a pistol in your hand, and what's your first thought? How does it feel? Then, how can I make it perfect for me? That's why FNH USA is offering the FNS Compact, perfect for concealed carry. Ergonomic, ambidextrous, customizable. Part of the highly regarded FNS series of striker-fired polymer pistols. Find your perfect pistol. Learn more about the FNS and FNX lines at your dealer, or visit us at fnhusa.com.
The .45 Auto, also known as the 1911, is the standard other defensive pistols are measured against. No matter what pistol you carry, techniques developed around the 1911 are vital. You know you need training, and you know your concealed carry class definitely was not training. Now GUNTALK presents an exciting DVD, Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. Tiger's unique training style will have you drawing, moving, shooting, and running your gun better, no matter what style pistol you prefer. At shopguntalk.com, you can order our DVDs of Tiger's instruction. Shopguntalk.com also has a 2-DVD set, including Concealed Carry 1. Get both for the information you know you need. This really is life and death. Shopguntalk.com has DVDs, books, and other essential gear. ShopGuntalk.com. That's ShopGuntalk.com.
Has the ammo you run in your AR got you in a jam? High-performance guns need high-performance ammo. New Barnes Range AR ammo uses top-quality components to ensure your gun runs smooth. It's loaded with light-for-caliber jacketed zinc core bullets to maximize speed. In 5.56 and 300 blackout. Barnes Range AR ammo. It's fast. It's flat, it's accurate, and it's easy on steel. BarnesBullets.com.
The Ruger American Rifle is a 100% American-made firearm that offers outstanding performance at a great price. Available in standard size and compact models, it features power bedding integral bedding blocks, a Ruger Marksman adjustable trigger, a flush-fit 4-round rotary magazine, and a 3-lug bolt with 70-degree throw. Compact models feature a shorter length of pull and a shorter barrel for a reduction in overall length of more than 5 inches. The Ruger American Rifle, another rugged and reliable firearm from Ruger.
We're talking with Bryan Bilinski from Fieldsport. He is, of course, one of the top gun fitters, top shooting instructors in the country. Bryan, of course, you got your wing shooting school. I guess you just finished that up, didn't you?
Just finished the August schools up, and once again, all sold out, and got a lot of great ideas of doing a few new schools next year. We're going to do an upland bird hunter school where we're going to be doing a quail walk or a grouse walk on the second day of the program. Mm-hmm. And that's always one of the missing links in our schools, is that we work on fundamentals so seriously that it's hard to introduce movement. Well, we're going to take a more advanced level shooter into our upland bird hunter school, and we're part of the program, be walking up a winding bark mulch pathway through the woods and having targets released when you're not saying pull.
and you know, unfortunately, we both have watched as sporting clays has been adulterated at the very least with mounted guns and such. So what you're describing sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, it will be, and it must be, because, as you know, my background was sporting clays. I agree with you when I think the national organization decided to allow a pre-mounted gun into the sport. It it basically, killed the goose that laid the golden egg.
Yep.
The sizzle was shooting from a gun down position. It leveled out the playing field even more so, and it made you become an athlete that you have to be as a wing shooter. You must be able to move the gun first, then mount, then shoot while targets are in flight. The pre-mounted gun takes that entire element out of it. Doesn't mean people are, doing anything wrong. We can't argue amongst ourselves as far as different ways to shoot a shotgun. But if you're a bird hunter, you must learn to shoot from a ready position, a gun down position, because there isn't one grouse, woodcock, quail, or a pheasant ever flushed when you said pull.
Not unless you just walk along saying pull all day long.
Had a tape recorder going, huh?
All right, let me ask you something. I know you get this. People, I've looked at your website, and of course you've got wonderful over and unders and wonderful side-by-sides, and people look at it and go, yeah, but those are expensive. And I go, well, yeah, if you're used to buying pumps and semi-autos, some of these are more expensive. But one of the guns on your used list caught my attention. I thought it was a great example of what maybe we'd like to get into, is that you've got a Joseph Lang side-lock, side-by-side shotgun here with 2 barrels. And, it's not cheap, but in terms of, you also have a Purdy for like $60,000. This is $10,000. But the thing I wanted to point out to people is this gun was made in 1907, and it is just as shootable today as it was 110 years ago, right?
That's right. The steel doesn't fatigue, as long as nobody's basically done anything wrong to the bore diameters and such. Those guns are just as safe to shoot. They were made in an era when time didn't have the same value it has today. There are some tremendously good values on the used market. You couldn't duplicate that Lang for $150,000 if you went to a English gun maker today and said, I wanted a 2-barrel set bespoke to my dimensions. They wouldn't do it. That's what, if you have a good, studious eye, you can find some tremendously good values in used guns. Back to what we discussed earlier, it's got to still fit you. Mm-hmm. And there always is a parameter of how far a gun can be bent to fit you. And once you know your ideal dimensions, you're going to stay out of trouble in the future when you buy guns, But, the market's wide open. It is, I would say, as far as many years as I've been in it, it's fairly flat right now. So nobody's pushing an extra $500 or $1,000 on any gun. The Internet has changed everything in the way you can find guns now. If you're looking for a particular model of gun, you can go and find 15 or 20 being offered by, an X amount of dealers across the country and see the high and the low, what everybody's offering in the way of condition, and select the perfect gun based on, all the criteria that's at your fingertips now.
I would suggest that in terms of value to someone, real value, if you actually like to shoot, as opposed to say, I'm going to get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different shotguns, get 1 or 2, pay the money to get a good gun fitting. That has to happen first, is you have to have the good fitting done. And all that is a process where the gun fitter has you shoot and measures you to say, okay, this is what you need in your measurements. And then part 2 of that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is actually getting the stock bent, adjusted, whatever it's done, so that you can get there. So it's really a 2-part process.
Oh, absolutely. And, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, you need to have a certain skill level to be fittable. It's more difficult for me to work with a real rank beginner because they're not consistent enough. So a lot of times there's a little bit of a journey there where you'll say, let's get your gun fit as close as I physically can get it. Then shoot for a few months, come back possibly. If you're a more advanced level shooter, then you should be able to be fitted in about a 3 or 4 hour tri-gun fitting. I do hundreds of those now, spring, summer, fall. And it's we're still probably across the country, maybe less than a few percent of American wing shooters have been fitted.
But once you are fitted, you have your measurements, and as you say, now you can go online and say, okay, that gun's pretty close. I think we can bend that and we can get that. Or that one, that one's way off. I don't know that I can get that. And I will tell you from experience, I was just telling somebody this week, I said, I used to have this delightful little Fox side-by-side 20 gauge, It was fast. It was quick. It felt great in the hands, and I could not hit planet Earth with that if I were standing on it. If a bird got up in front of me and lit on a limb, I would miss it. It was that bad. And
I think everybody's had that experience in their life.
And finally, you say, I don't care how much fun it is to carry it. I really hate missing, so I had to get rid of it because it just fit me that badly.
Yeah, we call that falling in lust with a gun.
Well, I sure was there. And having been to you and now having experienced the value, that aha moment of a fitted gun, I know I sound like some kind of evangelist, but man, once you've gone through the process and you see what happens and you just mount the gun, pull the trigger, or the target explodes, you go, that's like magic.
It's like magic. And I've heard thousands of those oh my moments at the plate where it just all finally that person realizes that it wasn't hocus pocus, it wasn't conjecture, it's based on science and it's based on an art. And you bring those two things together, and that person, if I always say it like in our schools, I said, think of how simply this could be. If you could shoot a shot load out of your index finger, you'd never miss.
Mm-hmm.
So
there it is.
Your hand-eye coordination is perfect. So when you have a well-fitted gun, you are maximizing your God-given gift of hand-eye coordination. You mount the gun firmly to your face. The gun is now shooting where you're looking. And then this is where now your instincts tell you the picture is right, the lead is right, pull the trigger. That's when your percentage of hits goes up, and you start really getting a memory bank of pictures, lead-type pictures, that you take with you for life.
Well, for those who have not done it, I can tell you there's an aha moment in here. It's a revelation when you really get good instruction. You get your gun fitted, and then you have that gun, adjusted for you. Bryan, if they want to know more about where you're going to be and your school and everything else, I guess the website's still the best place?
Yes, I'm already getting ready to set our dates for 2016. And for the record, I also do private shooting lessons and gun fittings. What we wait for in Michigan is for the snow to melt and the snows to come back. So between those two gray areas, and right now we're obviously in prime time in October, I do as many fittings and lessons as I can throughout the course of the week while still managing a retail business.
There you go. Well, I would encourage anybody to get up there. Check it out, FieldsportLTD.com. Bryan Bilinski, thank you, my friend. It's Fieldsport, FIELDSPORT LTD, FieldsportLTD.com. All right, open lines. I want to get your range reports. And do you think this change in Congress is going to be good or bad for gun ownership?
You're listening to Gun Talk, now on more than 200 great radio stations. Now, here's Tom.
All righty, time for stories. Or we call it story time, whatever you want to call it. We're having fun. We're talking about, the things we do, the things that happen to us when we're out hunting, when we're out shooting, when things are going on. By the way, if you'd like to join us, it's 866-TALK-GUN, or just our one-Tom Talk Gun gets you in here. Oh, congratulations, by the way, to 4 winners, grand prize winners of the Alien Gear Holsters giveaway. We just finished up. John O. in Raleigh, North Carolina, Stephen H. in West Bountiful, Utah, John H. in Ludowicki, Georgia, Shane D. in West Haven, Connecticut. That kind of gives you a good idea of where Gun Talk goes all over the country. By the way, if you have Gun Dealio on your smartphone, if you're having any kind of issues with it, just uninstall it, reinstall it. I have learned so much in the development of the Gun Dealio smartphone app. And what I've learned is that sometimes it's not a bad idea to, of course, you need to be updating all your apps anyway. But if you're having any kind of quirkiness, funkiness, anything going on with any app, just basically delete it and then reinstall it, download it again. And usually that takes care of it because there are all kind of updates going on all the time. So we should be, cross fingers, everything should be running fine on iOS 9.0, and I think it's 9.01 now. But if you don't have Gun Dealio and you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to go get it. Gun Dealio, it's a smartphone app. It's free. It helps you find super deals that even your gun stores don't know about. And what I mean by that is Springfield Armory may have a a thing going on where if you buy an XD, you get 3 extra magazines or whatever it happens to be. The gun store may or may not know about that, but if you have Gundealio, you'll find out about those kind of things. We notify you. So all kind of cool things going on there. So it's Gundealio, Gundealio. All right, so I'm talking to a buddy of mine, just got back from an elk hunt in Idaho. This is the kind of stuff we do. They're hiking way up, he and a buddy, way up into the mountains, and it's starting to rain, and they're carrying their gear, and of course they've got their tent and bivy sacks and all, but I mean, it's really pouring. He said, well, look, there's an old lookout station up here. Basically, it's almost a wooden box. Think of it as the tiniest one-bedroom apartment you've ever seen. Thing is probably 10 by 10, something like that. And it leaks and all, but it's good. It's shelter. So they get in there. He sent me a picture of it. And so they throw their sleeping bags down. They're going to stay there overnight. And it turns out that they are sharing it with an energetic and big pack rat. And this thing is coming out, and they can hear it running around. They turn on their lights. They can see it right there. Finally, about 2 o'clock in the morning, his buddy says, I am going to shoot that SOB. So Mike says, well, okay. He says, all right, here's the deal. You got a quadrant from here to here. You can't point that gun over this direction. Okay, got it, good. All right. They're in a 10 by 10, call it maybe a 15 by 15 foot wooden building that has probably as many holes as it does boards. You can see daylight pouring through it in the day. He's using a 243 rifle, and he's trying to shoot this pack rat. Optical offset is involved here. So Mike is calling the shots. Says, you're low and left. Now, the rat's about, 10, 15 feet away, maybe. He said, boy, it's really loud when you shoot a 243 in there. I don't know if they ever got it, but it sure was an entertaining tale to me at any rate. And by the way, yeah, he was shooting a 243 on deer. Mike got his 7x7 elk with a 7 mag. Question for you. Do you still hear people say that the 243 is too small for fill in the blank? Deer, sheep, whatever. Or have we gotten past that? Because when the 243 first came out, it was considered a varmint cartridge, pretty much a prairie dog coyote rig. And then some people started shooting deer with it and found out, hey, this works really well. But other people said, no, that's just a crippler. Things will run off with it. But I'm telling you, man, you shoot them in the vitals, it'll drop any deer. And they said, yeah, but, sometimes you shoot them and they run off. Yes, but I've also had that happen with 7 mags, with 308s, with other things. I've also had them drop straight down with those. I've had critters run off when shot with a 6mm or drop in their tracks. I think it's just a matter of, luck of the draw on some of that, and animals react differently. So anyway, I was wondering if what you had heard, if people still say the 243 is too small, or have we kind of gotten past that? All right, the big story, of course, the last few days is John Boehner has announced his resignation, not just as Speaker of the House, but he's leaving Congress. What was your reaction to that? Did you apply any Second Amendment filter to that and say, okay, well, then this means this for us? My first reaction was, oh, my God, what a wonderful thing. Because my feeling had been that Boehner was no friend of the Second Amendment. Rather than announcing, if a gun control bill comes to the House, it's going to be DOA. It's going to be dead on arrival, which would be the appropriate thing to announce. He was always in the go along to get along deal. Well, we will look at, and he said, we'll consider anything that you send up. He always was looking to make the deal. And I'm really reminded of when I worked in Washington, D.C. for a few years and talking to lobbyists. And for a lot of lobbyists, the important thing is getting the deal, not necessarily winning and losing, because they live and breathe and work in that DC environment. And there's this bubble there, and that's what they know. They know the deal. And being able to do the deal and be a part of the process is what's important. Being at the table is what's important. Gaining access is what's important to them. And they'll say, yeah, well, we fought this thing and we did this and we came up with this. And I said, yeah, but we didn't get what we wanted. They said, well, yeah, I know, but we got the best we could. I said, sometimes what you should do is just say, no, we're not going to go for a compromise. We're going to kill it. We're going to shut it down and come back and do it right next time. John Boehner was no leader at all. My great concern is that there's no leadership really in the Republican Party, at least at the leadership, the top levels, because they are all of this world of this get-along attitude. We're going to, I'll help you on this, you help me on that. We're all going to compromise our way through life. We've got a good gig going here. I don't know. Do you have any faith in the process at all? And if not, is it that lack of faith that is driving the interest in Ben Carson and in Donald Trump and even in Carly Fiorina? Is it that you're saying, okay, you're all a bunch of rats and we're going to throw as many of you SOBs out here as we can, which, don't get me wrong, I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. I'm just wondering if that's what's driving it and that's what's going on with the whole Trump, Carson Fiorina thing, people who have not held office before. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition, and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
You're at a gun store and your phone tells you about hot deals. Want to know about special offers? No problem when you have GunDealio, the free app for your smartphone. GunDealio delivers the latest deals on guns, ammo, and extras direct to your phone. Don't overpay for your shooting gear. Get GunDealio. It's free at the App Store and Google Play. Trigger the deals with GunDealio. GunDealio.com.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Crossbreed Holsters is broadening our product selection to serve more of your concealed carry needs. With products handmade in the USA, like the bedside backup, gun belts, and of course our world-famous Super Tuck and Mini Tuck holsters, we understand what works, and we take pride in providing you with a quality product. At Crossbreed Holsters, we live and breathe concealed carry. We make and sell products that we believe in and products that our customers love. To see more, go to crossbreedholsters.com. That's crossbreedholsters.com.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Experts agree that the low-range variable rifle scope is best for most situations. Now, Trijicon offers a stunning 1-to-6 power variable in the AccuPoint line. Featuring a battery-free illuminated reticle, superior glass clarity, and rugged construction, it's the one scope you need for hunting and competition. Long eye relief, aircraft-grade aluminum housing, manual brightness override, See the 1 to 6 power AccuPoint at Trijicon.com. Trijicon.com.
You know, we were having lunch in a restaurant in Albuquerque, New Mexico 2 days ago. My wife taps me and points over there, and the guy walks by. She said, well, she first saw him because he's wearing this big black cowboy hat. It's okay. He's pretty much wearing all black, including the open carry black pistol, Glockish, couldn't tell exactly, extra magazine, and a tactical flashlight on his belt. Definitely did not look like a police officer. He was just an open carry guy. What I found interesting was that, at least as far as I could see, no one there gave it a second glance. Now, this is in downtown Albuquerque. This was probably 100 yards, maybe less, 200 feet from the entrance to University of New Mexico. Have you actually seen people walk by, not people you know, just people randomly, open carrying, and what kind of reaction did you see from people around? Line 2, John's with us out of Minden, Nevada. Hey, John, are you still looking at this guy who called in?
How you doing, Tom?
Good.
Well, I want to do a response on that. I was in a tournament, and you start with a Mexican standoff. I'm sure you know what that is, for your back turn and your hands in the air. And you have four targets, 2 at 15 yards, 2 at 30 yards. You shoot two shots at each target. You run across the range, you reload, and you shoot 2 at the 30-yard targets. And the time starts when your hands drop. And I shot all 4 targets in a 10 ring and reloaded in 6 seconds. And this moron says you can't draw and shoot in 2 seconds. And that was my only comment, that I killed 4 people in 6 seconds.
Cardboard people, yes, I understand. It's a good point, John. Look, I appreciate the call. We're talking about a caller we got a couple of weeks ago. He said, well, you couldn't do anything. If it's all going to be over in 2 seconds, all you have to do is just roll over and die, because there's nothing you could do. I find this to be true. I find that people who aren't into guns, don't shoot much, don't compete, certainly, but just the general public, I think, is probably a fair way to put it. Their lack of knowledge of guns extends to what can be done. They project, of course, in psychological terms, they project that their incompetence upon everyone else. And so when you tell them, no, it's actually not particularly difficult to draw and shoot a target in 2 seconds. I mean, people do that all the time. I mean, if you take any kind of decent class, if you can't do that, something's wrong. Either you got bad instruction or you're just not very good. But almost any class that's any good, by class, I'm talking about probably a multi-day, real, tactical, serious self-defense class. It just shouldn't be difficult. And competitive shooters do it all the time. Drawing and shooting in 2 seconds that's not fast. I guess that's the thing. That's not fast. It's a good point. Jim says, often done under 1 second. Yeah, I mean, if you're drawing from an open holster, not concealment, the people who are fast at it can draw and fire 6 shots in under a second. Say what? Yes. Including, now this is at multiple targets and hitting them all, including reaction time. Oh, it's incredible. So I just find that when a lot of people who are not into guns are voicing their objections or their concerns about guns, it's from just an incredible lack of information. They don't know that a good pistol shooter could hit a person-sized target at 25 or even 50 yards. They don't have any idea what a good rifle shooter can do. They don't understand, because, I don't know, but it's because of movies, because of TV stories. Maybe they've seen all of the dash cam videos, and police officers, some are very good and some are really, really bad. You see all the misses out there. I don't know. What do you think? What's causing people to have such a bad understanding of what good, competent shooters can do? Speaking of calibers, we're talking about the 243. Great caliber, by the way. Not just for starters, for people starting out who don't want a lot of recoil. It's for anybody who wants to shoot well, because it doesn't have a lot of recoil. The lack of recoil actually contributes to you being a better shooter. It's one of the reasons I dearly love the 257 Roberts. It has pretty much the same kind of recoil, same weight bullet going the same speed as the 243. It's just lesser known and weirder, and Lord knows I do like weird guns and calibers. But I can hit anything with it. I mean, I can shoot big guns. I'm pretty used to shooting stuff, 375s, 458s, whatever you need to shoot. 7 mags, 300 mags, but those are not fun to shoot a lot. They're just not fun. And you take a 243, a 257 Roberts, 6.5 Creedmoor, you just can shoot them better. And when you can shoot them better, you hit better. And when you hit better, you drop animals faster. Take that and move that over to the self-defense side of the world. If a gun kicks less, you will shoot it better at the range. If a gun kicks less, you are more likely to want to shoot it at the range. Does a 45 kick a lot? Not really, but it kicks some. I think a 40 actually kicks a little bit more. I think 9s are much more pleasant to shoot. It's a good point. Why do you practice with 38 specials instead of 357s? Yeah, well, that's why. One of the beauties of that system, a revolver, you can, at 44 Magnum, you can shoot 44 special in them, et cetera, et cetera. It's one of the reasons that 9s have become so popular, because they're much more fun to shoot. You will practice more with them. You will get better with them. And now with good ammunition, they are, statistically at least, just as good at stopping an attacker as a 40 or a 45. The other aspect, of course, of shooting 9s is that the ammo is less expensive. Now, if you keep going down the line, go to a 380. You can get to the point of ridiculousness. A 380, yes, has less recoil, but the ammo is more expensive. You go down to a 32. Well, now we're really getting marginal as far as stopping ability, et cetera, that kind of thing. So, you got to figure out where it works for you. And if you say, I love shooting 45s, wonderful. I have carried 45s many years. I tend to generally carry 9s now. Just because of the nature of the business, I switch out because I'm working with different gun companies and different holsters and always trying different weird stuff out. That's kind of the fun of the whole thing. But don't get caught up in the bigger is better, whether it's rifles or handguns, or even for that matter, shotguns. For most uses, a 20 gauge, if you're wing shooting, will do everything a 12 gauge will do for most uses. And it's going to kick less. Doesn't mean necessarily it's going to be less expensive ammo. You got to watch out for that, because there's some promotional ammo in 12 gauge that is so cheap sometimes you wonder what are they thinking? Can they even be making money at it? In the ammunition business, they'll sometimes call it a race to the bottom. They get into these price wars. Who can make the cheapest ammo? And great, we're all going to sell a bunch and lose money on every box that we sell. Not such a great idea. But just as you look at when you're choosing, bigger is not always better, okay? When we come back, coming up really soon, we're going to be talking about training, self-defense training, mindset, the things you should be working on. And I guess that's the thing. None of us has enough time to do all the shooting we want to do. No one has enough time to get all the training we want to get. So let's figure out, what do I need to work on? What's actually going to be doing me some good? Is there something I need to change about the way I think, the way I operate, the way I carry, the gear I carry, what I do, that will make me and my family safer? coming up on Gun Talk. If you'd like to get involved in that, 866-TALK-GUN, get you in here. Hey, I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.